Alright, hello everyone and welcome to episode 25 of my Blackburn Rovers Football Manager 2017 save. So, yeah, we've been terrible ever since the injury crisis at the club. Andre Gray out on his own was bad enough, and more and more players kept getting injured. So, we lost 4-1 to Leicester. They didn't really outshine us in any way. They just have a much better team than us on paper, and that's our main problem, really, going into the end of this season. We've not really been able to play to our full potential that we managed to really get out the squad early on in the league because most of our main players have been out injured. So, yeah, when you've got our kind of Premier League signings out injured, we had Andre Gray out injured, Dufran out injured, Kajura out injured, and of course James McLean out injured. These are the players we brought in, the Premier League standard of players we brought in to replace some of the Championship players we had in order to make sure our squad was going to be competitive in the Premier League this season. And since most of them got injured, we just basically ended up playing with a much weakened side over the past few games. And, well, Jamie Vardy got a hat-trick and tore us a new one. Next up against Watford, didn't really play great either. Watford are always a really difficult team to play against. Italian manager, they play with a 3-5-2 or the 5 at the back with the wing backs. It's always very, very difficult to try and counter on Football Manager because it makes you so solid all over the pitch when your wing backs become midfielders, and then you have that extra man in defence with the 2 up front as well. And it looked like we were going to win. Barami got sent off in the 46th minute, and if you remember early on in the season, we dominated at Vicarage Road against Watford, and then Troy Deeney popped up in the last second of the game, basically, and scored from a corner. And the very same thing happened yet again, which I'm really disappointed about. We were 1-0 up. We scored from a corner ourselves. Credit where it's due to Fabio getting his first goal as a Blackburn Rovers player. They went down to 10, but then Patrick Bamford popped up in the 86th minute with a goal from a corner, and that cost us 3 points, which does unfortunately mean we have finally dropped into the bottom half of the Premier League. And 5th place is looking impossible right now. There's 10 points between us and Southampton. We've got 6 games to go. So we've got 18 points to play for. And you just really, even if we were to win all 18 points, it still seems like Southampton will have enough about them, or at least Spurs or Man City will have enough about them to secure that spot. So, no FA Cup. Doubt we're going to be playing European football next season. But we've got to try and stay positive. The last 2 episodes have been a bit grim, and I apologise for that. And we need to try and just hope that our owners give us 10-15 million to spend in the summer so we can completely revamp our squad. Because if you actually check out us as a team now, thanks to my financial management, we're now a rich side, which again baffles me as to why they didn't give us any money in January, and that's a massive reason as to why we're in the mess that we're in right now, despite looking so solid all season. But it's going to be a double episode. Away at Liverpool, away at Everton. So 2 games in Liverpool. The Everton game is going to be televised. Up against Liverpool, we're kind of above them pretty much all season. We played against them early on in the season and drew 1-1. Andre Gray there grabbing the goal. I think Klopp was still manager at the time. They now have Lucescu, a 72-year-old Romanian, in charge. And yeah, let's see what happens. Okay, welcome to Anfield. Here we are, and let's jump straight in. So, we've gone with a slightly different approach because obviously Without Andre Gray, the 4-4-2 has been pretty much ineffective. Danny Graham's going to be the lone striker up front, and most of Liverpool's goals conceded this season have come from down the left-hand side, where I think it's Kieran. Yeah, Kieran Tierney has been playing. And this team, as you can see, with players like Coutinho, Markovic, Firmino, aren't really that great in the air. So we're going to try and hope that Yaya Sanogo can be useful for once in the Premier League. And we're going to play him as a wide target man here out wide, so it can cause Tierney all sorts of problems and try and get the ball down this right-hand side, or our right-hand side and their left-hand side of the pitch. So for that reason, we're going to be looking to try and exploit the right-hand flank. We've dropped our defensive line to deal with the pace that Origi has to offer, and we've increased our passing directness a little bit. But other than that, it's all the same. We're going to start off with a counter mentality. I feel like we've been starting off with a defensive mentality recently, and it's resulted in us looking a little bit too negative at times. So we'll see what happens from here. Gouffran, of course, has also moved into the middle of the park. Please don't concede. Oh, God. Well done, Charlie Mulgrew. At least someone's awake. Over the past few games, honestly, it's almost like opposition teams have been walking through us. But, you know, on paper, we're back to a half-decent lineup now. It's a shame we're up against Liverpool. Gouffran's back in the side. Really, the only main player we're missing now is Andre Gray. But when you consider that he got 17 goals so far this season for us, you know, I don't think it's something we can say very lightly. But anyways, 20 minutes gone and we've looked dreadful. So after this highlight, we'll look to try and modify things. We've got to pick that up. 1-0 down. Yeah, another mistake. Another mistake. It's like, you go back and watch the Man United game, you go back and watch the Spurs game. How many of the goals, right, that we've conceded have come from stupid mistakes like that in the middle of the park? Frustrating. We'll change to an attacking mindset, but we've not even been able to put our foot on the game. So still, we'll try and play the ball out towards Sanogo, who's nowhere to be found, and none of our midfielders are willing to pick the ball up. I put Lenihan on because he offers more physicality in the air than someone like Letalic would offer. You know, so we'd start winning them direct balls in midfield because that's where Liverpool are at their weakness. But we've had 37% possession. We've got to beat Firmino to the header, which we do. Danny Graham fights for it at the front, and Lenihan plays the direct ball to Yaya Sanogo, who loses it to Sacco. I feel like a broken record at the moment. I think it was the last video. It was Sanogo who lost the ball in a very similar situation. Origi's through on goal. Origi's made it 2-0 Liverpool. And the losing streak continues. It's like opposition teams have just been walking through us. Okay, fine. I think we're going to have to bite the bullet and go full on direct. Standard mentality. Pump the ball into the box. Drop our defensive line a little bit. And get stuck in. Other than that, I'm not sure there's much more we can do. Go on, Sanogo, hold the ball up. No, he's lost it again. He's lost it again. I mean, we signed Sanogo on a free after Arsenal released him because he did so well for us in the Championship. But he's really not delivered anything for us in the Premier League. And, you know, it just makes you wonder what our season, or the first half of our season, would have been like if it weren't for Andre Gray. We're leaking goals left, right and centre. It's like we don't have the midfield, we don't have the players to try and win the ball back. But this is a chance to pounce, and we need to pounce fast. Gouffran is going to rally the troops and run forward. Sanogo finds Gouffran yet again, who finds Lenihan, who plays in Fabio, who should whip the ball in. Sanogo scores! Yes! I don't know how he's managed to score there, but he's got the goal, and that's what counts. Our first and only shot on goal, but it's a goal. and that's all that counts. Again, Fabio recently, to be fair, I think he's been our best player ever since, we've gone through this really poor run of form. He's gotten so many assists. I think he got 2 assists. I think it was in the Spurs game where he whipped the ball in and Danny Graham scored 2. We lost that game 3-2. So I've just changed our fullbacks to now have a more attacking mindset, because the rest of our players, of course, are on more of a standard mindset. This is it. This is what I mean from knowing my luck. We're going to concede from this. Gouffran had the ball in a really good area. Good header from Dumic. Had the ball in a really good area. And he tried to play the pass forward and just played it straight to the Liverpool player. But can he find Fabio? That's the question. Lenihan can. Lenihan can. Can Lenihan can. Fabio whips the ball in. Good clearance from Matip. And that's the problem. When you put your fullbacks on attack, it means players like Origi can do exactly that. And that's a lucky save from Jason Steele. But we live to fight another day. And at 2-1, it means that we might still stay in the game. Emre Can from outside the goal. Steele should be saving that. It's Kieran Tierney. Overlapped. Good shot from Emre Can, but Steele's got to save that. Steele has got to save that. And it's yet another individual error that potentially may have cost us at least another point. If we hadn't conceded that goal there, I probably would have taken the gamble and put Andre Gray on for the last few minutes, for the last 15 minutes or so. If there's anyone who can grab us a bloody equaliser, it would have been him. There's really, not much we can do overall. We've not shown up. We were fortunate to grab our goal, and it's kind of the same old story. We came into the game with a game plan, and to be fair, it was completely ineffective. One of the main reasons it was ineffective because we looked to try and defend deeper than we usually do. We wanted to play on the counter, get the ball forward to Yaya Sanogo, and now we've conceded 4. And it continues. Those of you guys who have been watching this series from the start, I don't think you'll have seen me as baffled as you've seen me in the past 3 episodes, or 2 episodes, because you've got to keep this one in mind. But it's a part of football management, No one's perfect. Second best all over the pitch. Morale gets worse and worse. I mean, my assistant manager tells me not to be harsh on the players, but how can you not be harsh on the players when you've just lost 4-1 at bloody Liverpool? We had 1 shot on target. It's worrying times right now. I really want the top half finish at least now. A part of me is kind of I just want the season to end. I want the season to end. I want some money in the summer, and I want to rebuild. Considering what we managed from this point all the way up until this point earlier on this season, I think it's safe to say that we are capable of building something special. You just need the players to do it. And unfortunately, yeah. Welcome to Goodison Park. The last time we played against Everton early on in the season, I think we lost. Their manager at the moment is Louis van Gaal, which is kind of ironic because he's retired in real life. But as you can see, they've got a really good side. Lukaku, for some reason, is playing as an inside forward out on the right-hand side, which is an interesting choice. But that's obviously something we're going to have to be wary of. Deulofeu's lack of strength is something we're going to have to try and exploit. But Andre Gray is back. Thank God. He's not match sharp, and his attributes have taken a bit of a hit because he's been out for about 2 months. But other than that, the only real main player we're missing is James McLean out here on the left-hand side. We've lost 4 of our last 5 away games, and really tactically, opposition instructions, we're looking to tightly mark Ross Barkley. Most of their play is going to be coming through him. And we're going to be looking to try and put Lukaku and Deulofeu on their weaker feet. In terms of actual team instructions that have changed, Again, we're going with the usual. I think I've been trying to chop and change it a lot recently to try and cut out this poor form with different types of game plans to no avail. So now that Andre Gray is back, I think maybe it might be a good idea to just, go back to basics, stick with what the team know best, and try and keep tactical familiarity to a high. But most importantly, we need to stay solid at the back. So let's see what happens. Let's try first to make sure we don't concede within the first 5 minutes or first 10 minutes, because that has been an issue for us. Starting off on a defensive mentality, we have had most of the possession, and now we're going to switch to more of an attacking mentality and see where that takes us. It's going to be difficult because Everton are playing with the two holding midfielders in front of the front four, which is really going to limit the amount of service we can realistically get to our front two. But the way we try to play with a short passing style of play should hopefully still end up being okay. It's a really good cross from Augustinson. Conway! Oh! Should have scored. I thought Andre Gray was going to score the header, but we do have a corner. It's going to get cleared by Albornoz, however you pronounce that, but it's ole, Conway on the ball. Augustinson finds Gouffran. Kudura finds Fabio with the header. I'm not even sure how that play happened, but I think I can list about 5 other players I'd have rather have been on the receiving end of that header, other than Fabio. It was a tight angle, to be honest. So, But 30 minutes in, we had a nice small spell, but we're not looking too bad. We're going to switch back to defensive now. Don't want to go in at half time 1-0 down, try and solidify things. Andre Gray, despite not being match fit, he's already got 6.8 rating, already making a difference. And I think this season we have been a one-man team. Like I said earlier on, Andre Gray in that deep line forward role almost becomes another midfielder for us. The pace that he gives opposition defences to worry about is phenomenal. He sometimes pulls out wide. He gives us that extra passing option. And we've really just... We missed him. The problem is we've got to try and grab a goal before he has to go off, because he's not going to last the whole game. So try and fire up the lads. Tell them I'm not really happy with what I'm seeing so far. James McLean and Daryl Enihan both out injured. But here we go. Let's see what happens. Craig Conway, who's had a decent game so far, picks the ball up, is going to get tackled by McCarthy, who's on a yellow card. So let's try and get him sent off. There's actually quite a few players who are all on yellow cards. Let's take a look at their levels of aggression. This guy, well, we're going to try and tackle both of them pretty hard. This guy's aggression, not too bad, so leave Galloway alone. But I have found in the past that if you start tackling players hard that are already on a yellow card with a high level of aggression, you can basically piss them off, and that increases the chances of you potentially getting them sent off. And Andre Gray's gotten injured. It looks like a twisted ankle. He's just had a sprained ankle. Oh, this guy, man. I'm going to leave him on for a bit. I'm going to do a Jeff Shreves. That's how reliant we are on him, guys. Obviously, we tried to sign another striker, but me being the idiot that I am, it turned out that he couldn't join our club until, well, basically next season. Andre Gray to Danny Graham. Oh, how has he missed? We had 2 clear-cut chances now. How's Danny Graham missed that? How has he missed that? And are Everton going to punish us? Hope Akpan wins the header, but we've not got anyone to pick it up. Right, Thomas Cleverley's now come on. So, yeah. But again, we do have a problem dealing with direct balls, when Lenihan in particular isn't playing. Can we win this ball back? We cannot. De La Feu, our centre-back's been pulled out, and we need to be able to get rid of this. 57 minutes on the clock, still plenty of time for someone to find a goal as we start to play out the back. Direct ball forward towards Danny Graham, and that is it. Galloway has handballed, and even though we try to focus on the two central midfielders to get them sent off, Everton are down to 10 men. And for me, this is an important game because I want a top half finish. So if we look at the league table at the moment, we can see down here, let's make it a little bit bigger, that Everton are in 13th place on 43 points. We're in 11th on 46 points. So if you know, we can get that nice boost to 49 points, it leaves us basically in touching distance of Watford, West Ham, Liverpool, Chelsea and Newcastle. And hopefully if Andre Gray's injury ain't too bad, and I am now going to take him off because Everton are down to 10 men. If his injury ain't too bad, then fingers crossed we will have him for the remainder of the season. So the question now is, what changes do I want to make? I'm going to go with putting Gouffran up front and bringing on Elliot Bennett to play on the right-hand side. And we'll go from there. And again, demand more of the players. We've surely got to be able to find or grab this goal now. Danny Graham on a 6.4 because of that sitter that he missed. We've been the better side. We're the side that have had the two clear-cut chances. And if we're going to come out of this game with a loss or a draw, it almost makes it seem like our not unbeaten, our away form will never end. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. 70th minute. It's time to maybe start mixing things up a little bit. We'll go slightly higher now that Everton are down to 10 men. And get stuck in and try and close them down more, really. Be more expressive. We just need to keep playing our game and hope that that goal will come. In terms of squad depth, I've said this a million times, but it almost feels like, what on earth can we do? What on earth can we do? Let's be honest. Danny Graham's going to come off, and I keep taking the gamble on Sanogo and hoping that he'll reward me. We've got two central midfielders on yellow cards. We're going to move Jason Lowe into midfield and turn him into a ball-winning midfielder. And go from there. And tell the lads to push forward. No sign of much happening. And Everton very well may have just been able to hold on to the draw. The amount of players we've got back. We've got to win this ball back. Get stuck into him. He's just taken on about 5 of our players. There are some players in this side who aren't fit to play in the Premier League, and with Everton going down to 10 men, oh my god, the potential counter attack from there. Commentator said neither team did enough to win that one, and positively, well, we've not lost away from home again, going through this poor run of form, but with them going down to 10 men, we should have won. And we had the better chances. Fabio with that header. Danny Graham should have scored. But it's all good saying, if only this happened, if only this happened. You've got to be able to execute like we were early on in the season. And we are going through this really tough period now. I'm just going to continue it from this point onwards because I want to keep an eye on what on earth happened to Andre Gray. Let's take a look at him. Tired after his last match. Thank God for that. Andre Gray lives to fight another day. Didn't mean that to rhyme, it just did. Which means that we'll hopefully have him until the end of the season. We've got Hull, Norwich and Swansea coming up. Hull, Norwich and Swansea. We beat Hull, we beat Norwich, we drew against Swansea. We've got to be able to get at least 6 points out of a possible 9 from these if we are going to get a top half finish. The Man City game, even though we drew against them earlier on this season, they completely dominated us. They've got an amazing team at the moment, even though they have gone through a managerial change. Players like Hendricks, De Bruyne, etc., etc. Weigl played very well against us when we drew against them earlier on the season. So I'm not expecting to get anything from that game there. If we do manage to get 6 points within them 3, if we elevate ourselves 6 points, it should put us on 53 points, which still, you know, might not be enough for us to get a top half finish, but we've just got to keep the faith. And on that note, if you enjoyed the video, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. It's been a very, very, very tough end of the season. It looks like, in fact, Southampton are going to secure the Europa League spot, unless Spurs and Man City could still drop down into there, So if Puel manages to actually get Southampton into the Premier League, that could be pretty amazing for them. But until next time, goodbye.